Hey y'all, I hope everyone is having a good week. Today I thought I'd read another short story from Broken Mirror. This one is called Instinct. It's about a young lady born into a family of werewolves, but all she really wants is to be a normal girl. It's actually a bit longer than Writer's Retreat, so I might break this one up into two separate videos. So without further ado, this is Instinct. It's sort of an odd time to go camping. The trees are bare, the sky is gray, and the air smells of fresh ice crystals and distant fireplaces. Most are not suited for the great outdoors in early January, but the cold has never affected me the way it might a human. My blood has always run just a little bit hotter. As for my friends, they don't seem to mind the frigid temperatures either. They're all incredibly eager for a few days at the cabin. Hunter especially. He keeps talking about hiking and drinking hot cocoa, and cuddling beneath a plaid flannel blanket beside the fireplace. Of course, that last one he saves just for me. Every time he mentions it, I can't help but blush. I was not supposed to fall in love with Hunter Isaacs. I wasn't even supposed to befriend him. He's not a member of the pack. He's not even a wolf. But I think that's why I like him. He's so different from the guys that I grew up with, the guys in the pack. I was born into a family of wolves. My father is a natural-born wolf. My mother is a human. Most natural-born wolves are male. In fact, I'm the first female to be born to our pack in at least 7 generations. But I'm not like my father or my brother. I don't transform. Or I guess I should say that I can't transform. The made females, the ones who have been bitten or scratched, transform like their mates under the light of the full moon. But for reasons that the elders have never been able to understand, natural-born females do not. It used to bother me as a child. I actually envied my older brother Eamon and his best friend Marcus. Once a month, they got to run wild and free as those fierce, magnificent, powerful creatures, while I sat at home with my mother. Every once in a while, she would read me a story or braid flowers into my hair, but most of those nights, she would sit by the window, gazing at the moon and waiting for my father to return. Even to this day, he holds a strange power over her, like a spell, or perhaps a curse. In my younger years, I found their love story to be just that, a love story. Beautiful, inspiring, a real-life fairy tale. I dreamed of marrying a fellow wolf. But the older I got, the more I began to realize that my mother didn't have much of a life outside of her relationship with my father. She doesn't have any friends. She rarely goes out. Her entire world revolves around my father and the pack. And that notion, which had once seemed so incredibly romantic, began to scare me. Wolves prey upon partners who need to be needed, need to be controlled, need to be overpowered. Independence and a strong will are considered very unattractive qualities in a potential mate. Of course, as a natural-born female, I'm expected to marry a member of the pack. Wolves are all about strength and power. If an alpha can be born to a wolf and a human woman, imagine the offspring of an alpha and a female wolf. That baby could very well grow up to be invincible. That's why, ever since we were old enough to understand the concept of marriage and mating, Marcus has had his eye on me. As a future alpha, he will pair with whoever he thinks will bear him the most powerful heirs. I think it goes without saying that as a 16-year-old junior in high school, this isn't the kind of stuff that most girls my age are thinking about. They spend their days giggling over the cutest members of their favorite bands, painting their nails, hanging out at the mall after school. And I wanted that. An escape from the world of wolves and curses and the ever-demanding moon. Then I met Lindy Martinez. We'd had classes together for 2 years, but we never really spoke until we were paired up for a project in chemistry. I'd never had a human friend before. Not because there are any rules forbidding wolf and human interactions. It's just that most wolves and their human mates tend to think they're somehow superior to those who live outside of the circle, and they don't bother making a secret of it. Long story short, Lindy and I became best of friends. She introduced me to the world of normal teenagers, of Friday afternoons at the movies, of football games and pep rallies, of homecoming dresses, and of girls' nights spent swapping secrets and eating ice cream straight out of the tub. She also introduced me to Hunter. Of course I knew of Hunter Isaacs. He was our school's star athlete. He played football in the fall and baseball in the spring. He was also the only guy who'd ever had the nerve to stand up to Eamon Tanner and Marcus King. Over the years, they'd been involved in numerous altercations, which usually ended up with at least one of them in the nurse's office and all 3 of them in detention. To Eamon and Marcus, Hunter was a fool. To Hunter, Eamon and Marcus were bullies. And yet, Hunter didn't hold the fact that I'm Eamon's younger sister against me. He welcomed me into their group of friends with a warm handshake and a smile that all but took my breath away. That smile is all I see right now as we pull up to the back door of a rustic yet charming cabin in the woods. "What do you think, Ray?" he asks me. Honestly, it's a home after my own heart, even if it isn't technically my home. Still, when I'm with Hunter and Lindy, I feel like I'm home, more so than I've ever felt with the pack. "I think it's perfect," I tell him. "Do we really have to go back to school on Monday?" Lindy laments. "Can't we just live here for the rest of our lives?" "I wish," Tad, Lindy's date for the weekend, remarks. "I'm not ready for another semester of having my butt handed to me on pre-cal's silver platter." "I've told you I'd be happy to help you study," Lindy reminds him. "Somehow, I don't think that would be very effective," I tease. It's not that Lindy isn't smart. She is. She'll probably be valedictorian next year. But when she and Tad are together, they can barely keep their hands off of each other. They're actually worse than Hunter and me, which is remarkable considering my animalistic instincts and his amazing biceps. "Shut up, Ray," Lindy grins. Once we've unloaded the car and carried all of our suitcases inside, it's time for a grocery run. We'd originally considered bringing food, but then Hunter remembered a small local store where we can shop for essentials. He determined it would be more sensible, and more fun, to shop after we arrived. We stepped back outside into the frigid January air and trekked through the newly fallen snow to the car. Lindy, in a moment of pure euphoria, runs and jumps onto Tad's back. Caught off guard, he yelps and falls face forward into a snowbank. Hunter and I can't help but laugh. "Traitor." It's a hushed, harsh voice, barely a whisper on the wind, but it sobers me up almost immediately. I'm not even sure it's really there, but even if it isn't, the word strikes an icy chord in my heart. To my family, to my pack, I am a traitor. I was supposed to be with them this weekend. Saturday night marks the first full moon of the year. Traditionally, in the days leading up, the packs gather together to feast, to welcome new members, and to celebrate new beginnings. This year's gathering is to be extra special, as the first full moon is also a blood moon, one that entices all beings that humans have written off as mythical or legendary: the wolves, vampires, necromancers, and demons. Every class of monster and nightwalker will be on the prowl come Saturday night. Except me. I'll be safe here in my cozy cabin, trying to pretend I don't know who or what may be roaming the very woods just outside my window. Even though I cannot transform, I can feel the blood moon approaching. My senses, already far keener than those of my human friends, are sharpening. I can see farther, hear clearer, and the scent of everything around me is almost overpowering. I'm also faster and stronger than I would be at any other point in the lunar cycle. The full moon's power always enhances my abilities, but the blood moon sends them into hyperdrive. "Hey, are you okay?" Hunter asks, wrapping an arm around my shoulder. For a human, he's incredibly perceptive. "Yeah, I'm fine," I assure him, wondering if those words are ever spoken in complete honesty. "I'm just hungry, that's all." "Oh, God, me too," Tad exclaims. "I haven't eaten all day." "What about that bag of beef jerky you polished off on the ride up here?" Lindy asks. "Road trip snacks don't count as food," Tad reasons. Lindy raises an eyebrow, but she lets him have his moment, whatever that moment may be. Like the cabin, the store itself is small and cozy, but stocked to the brim with anything and everything we could ever need, from bags of firewood to fleece blankets to cocoa mix and tiny marshmallows. "Why don't we split up?" Lindy suggests. "Boys, you go and get the firewood, lighter fluid, and whatever you'll need to grill your burgers tonight. Ray and I will get the rest." "Don't forget the s'mores makings," Hunter implores us. "We won't, I promise." As if I need him to remind me. I've never had a s'more before. Most wolves don't have much of a taste for sweets, and fewer still appreciate the simplicity of roasting marshmallows by a campfire. They'd rather be wrestling or hunting or finding some other way to establish their dominance over one another. As you can imagine, that mentality gets very old very quickly. But I can't wait to roast marshmallows around the fire tonight. While Lindy and I peruse the back of the store for breakfast essentials, eggs, bacon, butter, and milk, I accidentally tune into a conversation between two men a few aisles over. "This again?" the first man groans. "I'm telling you, out in these woods, under that full moon, you can never be too careful," his companion argues. And just what do you think is out there? Frankenstein? Bigfoot? The Loch Ness Monster? Oh no, wait, don't tell me. You're Wolfman. The first man appropriately howls with laughter. I freeze in my tracks. Yeah, laugh it up. But I know what I saw. A man standing stark naked beneath a tree, transformed into a great gray wolf before my very eyes. I'm telling you, they're out there. Whole packs of them. If that's so, how come no one else has ever seen one? Why aren't there news crews scanning these woods for your rabid werewolves? There are reports out there if you'd ever bother to look for them. Ever since the 1800s, packs of wolves have been reported in this area, and if you look at the patterns, sightings are 3 times as likely to be reported the night of a full moon. This isn't the first time I've overheard a human claim that he's come into contact with one of us, but he's certainly the most adamant. I can't help but wonder, as I glance over my shoulder, if he'd recognize a wolf in his or her human form. Turned wolves keep their same physical characteristics from their lives before, but natural-borns all bear a striking resemblance to one another. Our features are sharper than most humans. According to Lindy, my ears and cheekbones make me look like an elf from Middle-earth. I suppose there are worse mythical creatures to be compared to. Werewolves, for example. Along with the ears and the cheekbones, our coloring is earthier and more subdued. My brother and I have the same golden amber eyes as most members of our pack, but our hair is a sandy tan color, while most of the wolves we know are a few shades darker. Marcus, with his luscious brown hair and golden eyes, is considered a total heartthrob by most of the girls at our high school. I used to be among them, but now I think Hunter, with his auburn hair and pale blue eyes, is much cuter. As though summoned by my thoughts, he sneaks up behind me and grabs me by the waist. For once, I gasp. "I actually got you," he exclaims with an endearing sense of triumph. I've never startled easily, thanks to my wolfish super senses, but I was so caught up eavesdropping on the man who claimed that he'd seen a werewolf that Hunter actually caught me off guard. "Enjoy your moment. It won't happen again," I tease, as the 2 men round the corner into my line of vision. They look exactly how you'd expect a couple of old, weather-beaten country guys to look. Dressed in jeans, flannel, and hunting jackets, they're both sporting salt and pepper beards and John Deere caps. They might even be brothers. Thankfully, they walk right past me without so much of a glance. "Well, I think we have enough food," Tad remarks, glancing down at both of our incredibly full shopping carts. That's a bit of an understatement. We've accumulated more food than we could ever hope to eat in 3 days. But at least we won't go hungry if there's a blizzard and we get snowed in. When we arrive back at the cabin, we immediately set about preparing dinner. Even though Hunter and Tad are anxious to fire up the grill, it's beginning to snow. So instead of hamburgers, we opt for the classic homemade standby spaghetti and tomato sauce. While Lindy boils the pasta, she instructs the guys on preparing the side salads. In the meantime, I whip up some buttered garlic and basil bread. If nothing else, it will keep the vampires away. These are the kind of moments I missed out on growing up with the pack. Life's simplicities don't hold a lot of value for creatures who insist on being defined by their strength, position, and power. Turning your back on your own kind. And for what? A human halfwit who would have nothing to do with you if you knew the truth. That's what Marcus said to me the day I officially began dating Hunter. I don't know why it stayed with me. Hunter and I have been together for almost 2 months now. I'm happier than I've ever been in my life. And yet I can't get those words out of my head. Not because I feel any sort of guilt or shame. If the pack thinks I betrayed them, that's their problem, not mine. No, the feeling I can't seem to shake is the fear that Marcus is right. That if Hunter knew the truth about me, about what I really am, he wouldn't look at me the same way anymore. He wouldn't see the girl who laughs at all his silly jokes, or who's raced with him through piles of autumn leaves. He would only see the wolf, the half-breed, the monster. Part of me finds contentment in knowing that he never has to find out. The other part of me fears that it's only a matter of time until he does. After dinner, Tad suggests a game night by the fireplace. "I'm in," Lindy smiles. "But first, I'm changing into my pajamas. Who's with me?" Although I'm secretly eager to play in the snow, I know that we have a full day of winter hiking to look forward to tomorrow. With that in mind, I follow Lindy into our shared bedroom and dig my pajamas out of my suitcase. "Oh my God," she murmurs, glancing down at her phone. "My mother will not stop texting me. First she wants to make sure I remembered my boots. Then she wants to remind me that this kind of weather can often make roads hazardous and that I need to text her every time we leave the cabin. Now she's asking me if we plan on making a campfire, and if so, don't forget to put it out all the way or else the entire cabin might go up in flames. Your mother is very cautious, I comment. I've only met Mrs. Martinez twice, and both times I got the distinct feeling that she knew what I was. Or she at least suspected that I wasn't fully human. Her overbearing nature aside, I have to admit I envy Lindy's relationship with her mother. Mrs. Martinez loves and cares for Lindy in a way that never came naturally to my mother. When I announced that I was going to be skipping our annual gathering for a weekend in the woods with friends, she didn't beg me to be safe or remind me to pack a warm jacket. She lectured me for my selfishness, my lack of loyalty to my pack, my utter disrespect for the wonderful life I've been given. Do you know what it was like for me before I met your father? My life was dull, meaningless. I hesitate to even call it a life. I merely existed. You were lucky enough to be born into this pack. You live every day in a world that others don't even dare to dream exists. You live in a real-life fairy tale, but you're too stubborn and arrogant to appreciate it. I didn't bother pointing out to my mother that in most fairy tales, the wolf is rarely the hero. Lindy and I emerged from our bedroom dressed in our warm flannel pajamas to find the guys have already got a fire going. The smell of the cedar logs is rich and soothing, and I find myself closing my eyes as I savor the scent. "Well done, gentlemen," Lindy says, her voice snapping me out of my trance. "Wow, don't you ladies look all cute and cozy," Tad remarks. Hunter doesn't say anything. He just grins that sweet, friendly, adorable grin as he stands to wrap his arms around me. Firelight dances in his light blue eyes and illuminates the red gold in his hair. If I listen closely, I can actually hear his heart beating inside his chest. It accelerates as I rise up on my tiptoes and press my lips to his cheek. Everything about him is absolutely endearing, and it hurts my heart to think that in a way, he represents the life my mother so callously rejected. This is my fairy tale, right here. The snow-covered cabin in the frosty woods, nestled beside a roaring fire, with friends who accept me, and the guy who blushes when I kiss him. Everything is perfect. Except, just now, outside the window, I could swear I saw a shadow, a figure darting between the trees. It could be anything. A deer, a coyote, an ordinary wolf, maybe even a star-crossed hiker who lost his way. But as I listen, I hear soft and deliberate footsteps just a few meters beyond the cabin's front door. Whoever or whatever is out there is here on purpose. Having fun in there, little sister? Amen. I knew it. I knew deep down that the pack would never really let me go, that I could never fully escape. But I never expected him to follow me here. "We know you can hear us," a second voice taunts. "Marcus. They're not supposed to be here. They're supposed to be at the gathering. Why? Why would they come all this way, more than 2 hours by car, just to get inside my head and ruin what is supposed to be the best weekend of my life?" "You know there's only one thing missing," Lindy states, blissfully unaware of my brother and his companion listening from the shadows of the snow-covered trees. "Hot chocolate." "You read my mind, babe," Tad tells her. "Do you want a cup?" Hunter asks as our friends scamper into the kitchen. "Yes, please. But first, I think I left my bag with my toothbrush and everything out in the car. I hope you can't tell I'm lying. I've never been very good at outright fibbing." "Oh, well, do you want me to go look?" No, it'll only take a minute. But it's dark outside, and it's freezing." "I promise I'll be fine. I'll be back before you notice I'm gone." With that, I slip out without grabbing a flashlight or a jacket. I can see perfectly fine in the dark. And as for the cold, I barely notice it. Neither do Eamon or Marcus. They're both dressed in jeans and t-shirts. Looking at them, you'd think it was a balmy 70 degrees outside. "What are you doing here?" I demand. "What do you think?" Eamon asks. "Well, I know that neither of you is concerned for my safety." It sounds harsh, but most humans are no match for wolves, even those of us who don't transform. Eamon and Marcus have no reason to worry about me, which can only mean one thing. You don't honestly think I'm going to tell them, do you? While there are no official rules forbidding me from revealing my true nature to my human friends, it is strongly discouraged. Ever since the werewolf became common in mythological lore, true wolves have shared a common understanding and agreement that we keep to ourselves, our mates, and our pack. As far as I know, no one in recent years has dared to break that unwritten protocol. "Why not? You're weak," Marcus tells me. "So weak you gave in to the first bumbling idiot to pay you half a compliment." He's baiting me, I know. Unfortunately, I'm short-tempered enough to bite. Why on earth would I want them to know? You said yourself that they would have nothing to do with me if they found out. As soon as the words are out of my mouth, a flash of grim and cunning satisfaction flashes across Marcus's face, and I finally understand. They're not here to protect me or to keep tabs on me. They're here to expose me, to sabotage my relationship with my human friends, to drag me back to the wolves. Tell me, Ray, why on earth would you want to be friends with people who would never accept you as you are? Marcus asks. Because they do accept me, I retort. They accept Ray Tanner, not the wolf, the girl. The girl who enjoys long road trips and has recently developed a profound appreciation for 1990s sitcoms. The girl who dreams of learning to cook, reading more poetry, and attending prom with the boy she loves. The girl the rest of the pack never bothered to know. Because to them, she didn't matter. Only her blood, her power, and her potential mattered. You're lying to yourself. And you know what? You're lying to them too, Eamon reminds me. How do you think they'd react if they knew we were out here? Marcus wonders. You wouldn't, I whisper. Please, Eamon, Marcus, I beg you. Please, just go. Go back to the gathering. And what? Leave you here with your precious human riffraff? Unlikely. I've known Marcus long enough to know that when he looks at me, he sees a prize. One that he believes is rightfully his, and one that he is all too eager to fight for. Not out of concern for me, but to once again establish his strength and status as future alpha. Guys, please. That's when the door to the cabin opens, and Hunter steps out onto the front porch, shining a flashlight into the woods. Ray? He calls out. I panic, certain that he's seen Marcus and Eamon, but as I quickly glance back over my shoulder, I find they've disappeared. Are you okay? He asks, sprinting over to where I'm standing, nowhere near our car. I was getting worried. No, I'm fine. I thought I saw something. It's not a total lie. Well, come back inside. You must be freezing. He wraps his arms around me and pulls me to his chest. Did you find your toothbrush? Huh? Your toothbrush. Was it in the car? Oh, no. I'll look through my bag again. I probably missed it. If you still can't find it tomorrow, we can always go back into town and buy you a new one, he assures me. He really is very sweet. Thank you. I have to fight to keep my voice from breaking. I know my brother and Marcus can hear every word that Hunter and I speak, and it kills me having to keep that a secret from Hunter. I hate that they've put me in this position, and I hate that I have to spend every waking moment from here on out wondering where they are and what exactly they're planning. Because they're not going to let this go. They're not going to let me go. Come on, Hunter says to me. Let's go get some hot chocolate. I made you a cup with extra marshmallows. Back inside, Lindy and Tad are already snuggling atop a bed of blankets and pillows on the ground next to the fireplace. They've also set aside a stack of board games for us to play while we sip at our hot cocoa. As the evening progresses, the fire dies down, and the snow begins to fall again. It would be a very peaceful evening, if only we were alone. That's when a harsh, resounding rap on the door startles all of us. What the? Hunter wonders. Don't answer it, I hiss. Not that it matters. If even Marcus wanted to break down the door, they could. Who would be wandering around out here at this hour? Tad wonders. Hikers? Hunter asks. Or serial killers, Lindy murmurs. On cue, our visitors pound the door again. Lindy shrieks. I try to steady my breathing. Go away, I whisper. Please go away. Shh, it's okay. Hunter tries to comfort me. We're the only cabin out here. Hopefully whoever it is just has the wrong address. Or we're not the only cabin out here. Hopefully whoever it is just has the wrong address. 3 slow knocks this time. They're teasing us, teasing me, trying to get me to break. I hate that they're here, listening, scaring my friends, but I'm selfishly willing to bet that Eamon and Marcus won't go through with their threats to expose me. If they expose me, they expose themselves. They're scaring us, distracting us, but they're not actually going to do anything. Should we answer? Tad asks. No, I insist. I agree with Ray, Lindy says. But what if they need help? Tad argues. What if they're sick or injured? What if we wake up and find a frozen corpse buried beneath the snow? Tell you what, we might be able to see the porch from the window. We turn on the lights and try to catch a glimpse through the curtains. If they look harmless, we answer. If not, we call the police, Hunter says. But what if they see you? Lindy asks. I'm glad she's trying to dissuade them because I don't know what to say. Please don't look because chances are you'll see my brother and Marcus. Yeah, right. Of course, if they don't want to be seen. Chances are they're already gone. They will have heard every word we're whispering. I'll be careful, Hunter promises, peeking through the curtains. Huh. Who is it? Tad wonders. No one. The porch is empty. Are you sure? Lindy asks. Positive. There's no one out there. Then they're either screwing with us or waiting for us. Either way, no one is opening that door, Lindy says. I close my eyes and listen to see if I can hear my brother or Marcus laughing or taunting or sprinting through the snow. But the wind is harsh and they're almost certainly keeping quiet in order to frighten me as well. Maybe one of us should sleep out here tonight. To keep an eye on things, Tad suggests. I don't know. I think I'd feel better if we were all together, Lindy tells him. This whole experience has clearly shaken her, and I can't help but feel that this is all my fault. I'm the one who quite literally led the wolves to the doorstep. So instead of saying goodnight and retiring to our bedrooms, we make camp in the living room. Lindy and I take the couches. Hunter and Tad settle down onto the floor. One by one, my friends drop off to sleep, but I can't stop listening for footsteps in the snow, or my brother's jeers just through the trees. I pray to our mother moon that he's gone, and that he's taken Marcus with him, but a cool tingling in the pit of my stomach tells me that they're still out there, and that they're waiting. If you'd like to read the rest of Instinct before I do, or any of the other stories featured in Broken Mirror, it's available on Amazon.com and on Kindle Unlimited. See you guys later!